On average, New York City stands just 1 meter above sea level. 60% of the subway system runs underground. The lowest station lies 55 meters below street level. Throughout the system, water everywhere. The flow never ends. It comes from rainfall, groundwater, and water main breaks. If it seeps into subway tunnels and touches the electrified third rail, it can disrupt the signals and trigger a disaster. To avert danger, the Transit Authority mans nearly 300 pumps throughout the subway system, 24 hours a day. The 4 pumps in this room alone can churn out 15,000 liters a minute. On an average day, the pump rooms throughout New York disgorge 49 million liters of water, enough to fill 50 Olympic swimming pools. The water flows into underground sumps, then into the sewers, keeping the subway high and dry. Yet, on this system, the tracks aren't clear. Ahead lies an obstacle. Not natural, but man-made. And a man-made problem requires a superhuman solution. Sometimes New York is its own worst enemy. On America's busiest subway, a bulging artery threatens to hemorrhage. The threat comes not from nature or time, but man. Too many people. Now, relief is coming down the tracks. The fabled Second Avenue subway. In the boom years after World War II, change swamped Manhattan's East Side. Factories closed, offices opened, and condominiums sprouted. To make room for progress, the city tore down 2 elevated subways. As the decades passed, the population exploded, swamping the East Side's sole subway line. For decades, New Yorkers talked of building another line running north and south along Second Avenue. Work was begun, but when New York teetered on bankruptcy in the 1970s, construction stopped. Finally, help's coming. The first subway line to be built since 1940, a 13-kilometer stretch from 125th Street to the financial district in Lower Manhattan. It won't be completed until 2020, but a glimpse of the subway of the future has already been unveiled.
Well, you can see the Atlantic Ocean behind me, and I'm surrounded by an ocean of glass here.
Rich Maris manages the Stillwell Terminal project on Coney Island. With 8 tracks, it's the biggest subway terminal in the world. It's also one of the oldest in the New York system. Over the past 2 decades, the Transit Authority has renovated almost half its stations. But when Stillwell's turn came, it was judged beyond repair. Instead, they tore it down and started over. This is tomorrow's terminal today. 4 subway lines terminate at Stillwell. Each was once covered by a small canopy that failed to protect trains and passengers from the elements. No more. Stillwell now shelters beneath a roof the size of a football field. But this roof does far more than keep commuters dry. It powers the station. The roof is made of 2,600 photovoltaic panels. Every year, each solar-powered panel generates enough electricity to power an average household for 3 days. Together, they'll generate half the station's daily electricity. It's one of the best uses of solar power in any subway on Earth. The roof is not just economical, it's safe. Engineers test the panels by firing a 2x4 from a projectile gun at 160 kilometers per hour, simulating the debris of a hurricane.
They will not break. They fracture, but they won't go through. This roof is strong enough to handle your weight. You can walk all over the glass if you want to.
You have to. To avoid disruptions on the platforms below, the roof was designed to be maintained from above. Like arteries in a body, the subway ensures the health of its host. As the station comes back to life, it may revive an ailing limb of this megacity.
Back in the early 1900s, Coney Island was probably the original version of what Disney World is today. Everyone came here. This was a city of lights. This roof now has started the return of Coney Island.
An entire neighborhood moves forward because Stillwell is back on track. Man, nature, and time all throw obstacles in its path. Hazards loom around the bend. Yet the subway always comes through, a well-oiled machine in perpetual motion, speeding to the service of a restless metropolis.
The system works. It works very, very well. And when there's a time of crisis, we pull together like nobody else does.
It's all about pressure and time. How much pressure can you take over a certain amount of time? Some people rise to the occasion, some fold under the pressure, so to speak.
We all need reassurances nowadays, you know. It's a different world.
Once in a while, I take a peek through my window, and I see everybody very relaxed. Sometimes you see people sleeping, a whole carload of people sleeping. They feel safe. If they didn't feel like that, they wouldn't be asleep.
Rocked to sleep, safe inside this metal cocoon. The city that never sleeps finally rests.